Happy Friday, everybody. You've probably already noticed the change, but we're going to see if we can do some more. I got contacted by my friend again about possibly getting some different thumbnails up, but hopefully the new background will suffice for now. As you can tell, we're in Exodus. We finished out Genesis yesterday, and I know that the big story in Exodus is Moses. So I'm looking forward to going through this and reading the actual story from the Bible and not just thinking about what the movie said. Because again, if you were like me and you grew up with the cartoon movie, I remember that a lot more clearly than the actual Bible story. So I'm looking forward to getting into it. I have finished my first week of in-class uh, classes, I guess you can say. It's the first semester that I've actually had to go downtown to take my classes, so it's going well so far. The only thing I'm really kind of worried about is just being able to get parking every day I go down, because I have to go Tuesday, Thursday afternoons, and Wednesday mornings. So as long as I can find some decent parking, I think I should be okay. I have obviously all of 6 pages of homework for my 2 math classes tonight. It's not really hard, it's just something that I haven't been taught. Like we did Roman numerals yesterday or 2 days ago on Tuesday. And I was like, okay, I was taught Roman numerals. It's just a review of that and like figuring out why they work like that and why we use them and all that, which is pretty much the basis of the whole class. It's just figuring out why numbers, systems, operations work, and then my other one is figuring out like why geometry works. So it's not really difficult. It's just reviewing, but there's some stuff in this that we've done that I was not taught growing up, because it's kind of way too much work for something you could do a lot more simple to figure out the answer. Um, but anyway, so I got to do that tonight after I finish doing this. But I did want to get this done because I found it really cool. I really like this background. I like the golden cross and the blue background. And if I can make it work nice, I think the words are going to be in gold and yellow. So hopefully they'll be popping up over that way. That way. Pretty soon in yellow or gold. But let's get to it. Exodus chapter 1. The Israelites Oppressed. These are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt with Jacob, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad and Asher. The descendants of Jacob numbered 70 in all. Joseph was already in Egypt. Now Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation died. But the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. Then a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing, came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous, and if war breaks out, will join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country. So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor, and they built Pithom and Ramesses as store cities for Pharaoh. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites, and worked them ruthlessly. They made their lives bitter with harsh labor in brick and mortar, and with all kinds of work in the fields. In all their harsh labor the Egyptians worked them ruthlessly. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him, but if it is a girl, let her live. The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? The midwives answered Pharaoh, Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive. So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: every Hebrew boy that is born you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. So a scary start to the first chapter, but kind of interesting. So we kind of connect from Joseph to this current, now this new setting, which is going to lead into Moses eventually. But the whole generation of Joseph, his brothers, they all died. So this is generations later. So you're talking hundreds of years potentially between Joseph and Moses. And now again, the new Pharaoh, like Joseph means nothing to him, but even more, there was like, if the old Pharaoh had a fear of God, this new one, it's lost along the way somehow. Because I don't know if it's from one, like the Pharaoh that was there for Joseph, if it was directly his son that's now the Pharaoh, or if it's been, like they said, hundreds of years, multiple generations. So I think that there's multiple Pharaohs like that connect, and there's like this fear of God, and the respect for Joseph has kind of dissipated as the years have gone on. So of course, some paranoia sets in because the Israelites are getting too numerous, and there was nothing to say that they were going to actually fight against the Egyptians if a war broke out. But he assumes that, and then they oppress them, make them work a lot of labor, and then when that doesn't work because they're just like, they deal with it and they keep having kids and multiplying, then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to tell the women who help with the birthing to just, kill all the boys and let the girls live. But then the midwives, the Shifra and Pua, see, I think when I hear midwives for Egypt, I think there's like a ton of them, maybe like, 30, 40 midwives or something, but there's only two. So both of them feared God and didn't agree to, didn't do what Pharaoh had told them to do. And, God blessed them because of it. The part that I find interesting is that they lied to Pharaoh about why the boys were living, because Pharaoh just assumed that they weren't killing them, which they weren't intentionally. But they said that they are giving the Hebrew women are giving birth before they can get there. So it's like they're so tough that they're giving birth before any help can arrive. And so God rewards them with families because he saved the boys. Now, technically that's lying. So I know, you're not supposed to lie, but lying to avoid doing something that is against God, is that okay then in that situation? And where does the line get crossed if not, like, I'm just a little curious about that. But then at the very end, every Hebrew boy that is born you must throw. So he goes to all of his people, not just the midwives, and tells them the same thing. You must throw every boy into the Nile, but let every girl live. So that's where we leave off from chapter 1. Interesting start, a connection between Genesis and Exodus, and a little bit of danger for the Hebrew boys. All right. Well, it is Friday morning. We have started Exodus. I have started my college semester in class. I have some homework to do, but I hope that I will be able to continue doing this because I'm just really liking this background. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. I really like that picture. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.